bedroom waiting for him. As we look at the keys right here on offense, you cannot wait to the fourth quarter. Saskatchewan only 1 point in the first quarter. Waited to the fourth quarter to come back to tie that game. For defense, take the sweetness out of Special K. Get after Kahari Jones. Put him on his backside. Don't let him get into any kind of rhythm. For Winnipeg on the other side for offense, hey, spread the ball around. Milt Stegall, 4 touchdown passes. Fantastic. But don't forget about Arlen Bruce. Don't forget about Charles Roberts, the other boys on the offense. And on defense, hey, tighten up the back end. And I don't mean an exercise technique here. I mean the secondary. Don't allow Saskatchewan to come back with 200 yards in the fourth quarter.
Game notes brought to you by Canadian Tire. Let's get started.
Well, coming up at the half, we will have Chris's pro tips. We will also continue our Canadian Football Heroes series. We will sit down with Troy Westwood at the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. He, of course, was the hero in last weekend's game in Regina. Now, the weather today in a single word, cold, 3 degrees, very windy, gusting up to 48 kilometers an hour. And, well, the goalposts, they're bending because of the wind today, guys.
And we're underway. The Bombers kicking off into the wind, and Corey Holmes has it and is dropped for a short return just shy of the Saskatchewan 40-yard line. Good field position for Saskatchewan to go to work as Nealon Green heads out onto the field, having a career best last week with 313 yards passing, 202 in the fourth quarter as they mounted a comeback to force overtime.
They won't want to leave it to the fourth quarter today. They want to come out, especially in Winnipeg's home park where they're 6-1. They want to come out and set the standard right now. Put something positive early.
Green will pitch it to Cedric Shaw up the middle, but it's tough going as the Bomber defense held the gain to 2 on that play.
That's a nice job of getting the run established. Saskatchewan, the #1 run offense in the CFL. Nealon Green, Zarka the fullback. Cedric Shaw just carried the last time. The receiving crew, Jackson French back inside of the slot back. Armstrong and Rocky Henry at the wide receiver. And a big offensive line anchored by Jeremy O'Day at center, Gifford Lazio, Mikowski and Heaven at the tackle.
2nd and 8. Dave Donaldson in, an extra defensive back in the lineup for Winnipeg. Nealon Green is complete and will have the first down as Rocky Henry grabs the ball in front of the Saskatchewan bench.
A nice job of sitting back there. Nealon Green doesn't get a lot of credit. You take a look at that defense who's going to try and get after him. Fortney Brown in the middle. Weathers and Brechterfield at the rush end. The linebacking crew, a good one. Wickman McGriggs. Brian Clark having an outstanding year. Tom Yerb at safety. Lewis and Nash. And Marvin Coleman. And Bell at the corner.
Quick drop, Green with a short pass to Derek Armstrong, keeps his footing and gets up across center field and close to the 51-yard line. A gain of about 8 yards in the play as the Riders move the ball with the wind.
Well, they're doing a nice job of mixing it up, going to the short side of the field, coming back. One-on-one coverage, just sit down there, find a hole, just get down there, get the ball, and then puts his hand down, keeps the balance, and fights for extra yards, putting him in a second and short situation. Nice job by Armstrong.
Armstrong coming into this game just 91 yards short of 1,000 on the season. 2nd and 2. On the ground, Chris Zarka with heavy resistance, still working away, and Weathers won't let him go. He won't get it.
Well, Weathers is the guy that wraps him up. But I tell you what, you see Tom Europe, everybody around there, but the guys in the middle, these are the guys that do the job. Fortney and Doug Brown, great penetration at the point of attack, stuffing Chris Zarka, who's no small task to bring down.
So it'll be 3rd down and 2 in a punting situation as Paul McCollum stands at his own 43-yard line. An average of 43.8 yards this year, his longest 75, and he'll have that stiff Winnipeg north wind at his back. He shanks this one. It bounces between Howell and Arlen Bruce into the Bomber end zone. And Saskatchewan will be called for no yards. Really, Chris, a stupid penalty to take as the Bombers stuck the Saskatchewan coverage team inside that 5-yard restraining line. And so Winnipeg and Kahari Jones on offense when we come back. in Winnipeg. Kahari Jones set to go on offense as the Bombers took the no yards penalty against Terrence Melton, and so no point awarded on that long punt by Paul McCallum, and the Bombers will start at their own 25-yard line.
It's a nice job, but again, a mistake. You don't like to see those, even if they're just incoincidental, like just the fact that that was just too much. You got to get away, give them the 5 yards. Points are hard to come by.
Jones sacked just once last week after giving up 20 sacks in the previous 6 games. With 3 rookies on this offensive line, the hitch pass is high over the head of Jeff Grover. Incomplete.
Well, they're going to come over and they bring everybody and put the pressure on Kahari Jones. That's important. You see Kahari there. Mike Sellers, the fullback, had a big game last week, running the screen pass. Roberts, receiving crew, Arlen Bruce III. Stiegel had an outstanding game. Drover, Howell, the offensive line of BC, Elwanibi, Getvey, Mudge, and Garrett Jones at the left tackle making his second start.
Yes, Garrett Jones and Dan Getvey in their second start of the season, along with Benedict at BC, the 3 rookies. And flags are down on 2nd and 10, and it looks like it'll be offside against the Riders. Bud Steen with the indication there.
Offside, Saskatchewan 98. Second down repeat.
Nate Davis. Similar situation in that Edmonton game a few weeks back, which kept a Eskimo drive alive, and that's what this Saskatchewan team has got to stop doing, as Danny Barrett was telling us the other day. It's the little mistakes. It's 2nd and 5 now. Winnipeg into the wind. Jones back to pass. Pressure, gets it away. It's complete to Charles Roberts, and a first down for the Bombers.
A nice job of pressure coming. That's the biggest thing, as we see Reggie Hunt coming through there. Davis the pass stick. Jacobs back in the lineup. Shante Peoples at the rush end. The linebacker crew, Travis Smith, Jackie Mitchell, and Reggie Hunt having an outstanding year this year. The rookie. Mallet at safety, Walker and Bush at the halfbacks, Makala and Morgan at the cornerback position.
Roberts was up and limping a little after that play. He missed a game 2 weeks ago against BC with a knee injury. They'll stay on the ground. Mike Sellers looking for an opening, but that tough run defense of Saskatchewan's turns him aside with a gain of 1, maybe 2 yards in the play.
Well, we talked earlier about the fact that Winnipeg has the #1 passing game. Saskatchewan the #1 pass defense. But they also, Saskatchewan #1 run game, Winnipeg having the #1 defense. So, I mean, this is a great matchup. Great chess game is going to be taking place between the offensive coordinator and defensive coordinators all day long on both sides of the field.
Jackie Mitchell has been involved in 2 tackles already in this football game, back from a leg injury set out last week. Jones passing now, intended for Stiegel. He's got it shy of the first down marker at the far sideline. And so the Bombers will send their punting unit onto the field.
But it's a nice job of bringing pressure. You bring pressure, and that forces Kahari Jones to throw the ball just a little earlier than he wants to. Stiegel's going to just get back there, cut it off to the corner, just sit down, gets the ball. But a nice job of Gavin Bush keeping the receiver right in his hip pocket there, tackling him short of the first down, forcing the punting situation.
Bob Cameron warming up the hands on this cool afternoon in Winnipeg. 3 degrees the high this afternoon. He says he'll be trying to angle his punts all afternoon to try to keep it away from this man, Corey Holmes, who loses it into the sun, lets it drop, and will pick it up at about the 23. Holmes breaking some tackles, twisting and turning. A flag is down, and the indication will likely be no yards against Winnipeg.
Well, absolutely no yards. I mean, right there. And that's one of the things, as you say, Holmes trying to catch that football, loses it in the sun, lets it bounce. Very fortunate that it didn't go farther past him. Recovered quickly, picked up the yards, but as a result, the defenders, Winnipeg's covering team, caught him in within that 5-yard zone.
No yards. Winnipeg 48. The penalty is declined. First out.
Danny Barrett with some last-minute instructions to Neil Green, telling us yesterday he loves this fierce rivalry. 2 prairie teams in the elements.
The proximity of the 2 teams. They're back in the West, which they see now is a little bit tougher than the East. That's all you need for this game. You don't need all the extra stuff. Where the extracurricular stuff has come in, I don't know. And I said this last week. This is not WWF. This is football at its best. And the best team wins.
Rocky Henry with the reception. A short gain on the play. The extracurricular stuff, the espionage that was a big story this week with reports out of Saskatchewan that there were plays and secrets being given away to Winnipeg, that K.D. Williams, who joined the Bombers just before last week's game, was giving away the defensive signals. Danny said, I didn't make any of those statements, and he doesn't know where they came from, but they didn't come from within the Rider organization.
Which is kind of surprising because you really don't need any extra hype for this game.
Nealon Green, so far, he's been perfect through the air. 3 for 3 for 20 yards. Rolling the pocket. Pressure now. Gets it away. And out of bounds. Derek Armstrong was the nearest receiver. But Denny Fortney flushing him out of the pocket.
Well, Denny Fortney having an outstanding campaign. Here's a guy who didn't have one quarterback sack last year. Labor Day had 3. Against Nealon Green. He just breaks through there. It's a little slide protection. They're going to slide to the right. Now, the biggest thing about slide protection is the guy that's sliding with you has to cover that opening. Don't create a gap. Denny Fortney beat him to the gap, and as a result, could put the pressure on Nealon Green.
Wait a minute, huh? Paul McCallum to punt. He had a 67-yarder on the bounce on his first punt of the game. Arlen Bruce takes this one on the first hop right up the middle and is stopped just shy of the 45-yard line. A 37-yard punt and a 1-yard return as Kahari Jones comes back on offense for Winnipeg.
And welcome back to Winnipeg. On Monday, we will have 2 great football games for you. First is the Argos in Hamilton to play the Ticats. This game could well determine the season for both teams, and right now they are tied for second in the East. Then it's the top teams in the league playing at Commonwealth Stadium. Let's go back to Mark and Chris.
Right, Brenda, a Ticat win, and they will clinch second place. The Argos cannot afford another loss the rest of the season. First down, Bombers. Jones, quick drop, throwing to the far side. Marcus Howell has it. It is dropped immediately by Reggie Hunt.
Well, Marcus Howell working against Omar Morgan. You see, there it is, Charles Robertson. He has a tendonitis around the kneecap, and they're not sure what that is. The fact is that the kneecap kind of moves around. The ligaments supporting the kneecap have been giving him trouble. It's really hard to diagnose. They basically have to go with how Charles Roberts feels, whether he'll play or not. So it's one of those things where he'll pull himself out of the game if he feels it's hurting.
Well, the leader in combined yards had just 2 catches last week for 67 yards against Saskatchewan. Second and short, Mike Sellers with a right-hand turn up the gut and a first down for the Bombers at midfield.
Well, the big 260-pound horse just goes outside and cuts it back, and that's what a good job by the offensive line. You see Mo Elwanibi, 64. Now he pulls inside the hole. Wade Miller with a good kick-out block. That's exactly how you want to run that play, and that allows the back to either go to the outside or cut back inside.
Sellers is a big man at 6'3", 260, and he hurt Saskatchewan last week with that screen pass. First down at midfield. Jones on the ground. Charles Roberts back in the game, and he looks okay with a quick move up the middle and a gain of about 7 yards. And this offensive line, Chris, has been beaten up all year. No less than 11 players have made an appearance on the offensive line. 8 different combinations. And as we mentioned off the top of the broadcast, 3 rookies right now.
Well, that's the way it works. I mean, you never know when opportunity is going to knock, and you got to take advantage of those situations. Getvey getting his first start right now because of the fact that Moosbrugger comes down with mono.
Dave Mudge has been a real leader. The rookies have been saying that he and Mo Elwanibi have been taking them under their wing in film sessions and during the game, and a staggered count by Kahari Jones draws Saskatchewan. Nate Davis again, it looks like, offside.
Well, just staggering the count, and that's a great job by the quarterback, Kahari Jones. That'll take the pressure
Offside.
off.
Saskatchewan 98. First down.
Well, Nate Davis, and you know the biggest thing about this is they say you should never be offside at the tackle position or the inside position because your key is to look at the football. Do not listen to the quarterback's cadence. Watch the football. That's twice Nate Davis has jumped already this first quarter.
So first and 10, Blue Bombers. Ball at the 43 of Saskatchewan. On the ground, Charles Roberts with a quick move, and there's Jackie Mitchell with the tackle for Saskatchewan, a gain of about 3.
Well, Jackie Mitchell's going to be watching where number 1 goes all over the football field. I mean, not only can he break it carrying the football, but they love to throw the ball to number 1, Charles Roberts. does a nice job of just getting out there. Jackie Mitchell's just going to flow around. He comes right up, makes a play, breaks the tackle, comes up, wraps him up, limits the game to about 3.5 to 4 yards.
Mitchell and Ray Jacobs back in the defensive lineup for Saskatchewan after sitting out last week. Second down, 7 to go. Jones with lots of time across the middle, and Bruce has it for a first down across the 30. Arland Bruce, who we think might be a factor in this football game if Saskatchewan pays too much attention to Milt Stegall.
Well, that's exactly what's happening, Mark. I mean, they're doubling Milt Stegall, and that allows Arland Bruce to get one-on-one coverage by Walker, the wide side half, and he just comes and runs a crossing route. Nice job, but it all starts with the protection right here. They're bringing a blitz. See, Mike Sellers, nice job at the top of your screen, picking up Travis Smith, the blitzing linebacker, allowing Khari the time.
Jones saying that the protection last week was the best he had all season. Up the middle this time, and not much room to maneuver for Charles Roberts. Again, Jackie Mitchell in on the tackle, along with Shante Peoples and Travis Smith.
Well, the nice job about running the football is you don't have to be successful all the time, but what it does is it pulls those linebackers to the right, to the back of the defensive line. Now, when you get that, that opens up the crossing routes they were successful with running prior to Arland Bruce. That puts that linebacker in a bind. Does he come up tight to the line of scrimmage, or does he have to drop back?
2nd and 8. This is the 7th play of this drive for Winnipeg, which started on their own 45. They're eating up a lot of time going into the wind. Again, Jones with time. He'll roll right now. Pursuit from Travis Smith. Jones firing to the sideline. It's incomplete. Jeff Drover was there but couldn't stay in bounds. The ball was low.
But again, nice job of picking up the blitz. Saskatchewan's bringing the linebackers. They're trying to disrupt Khari Jones. They bring the blitz. It gets picked up. It gets to the outside. Now, this is, a lot of people don't think that Khari Jones has this athletic ability to get outside. He's got some good wheels. He just doesn't run an awful lot. Throws on the ball. Fortunately, incomplete. They're trying to find Drover on the sideline there.
So Troy Westwood will attempt this field goal from the 34-yard line. He was good on 2 of 5 last week under gusty conditions in Regina. Ball down, up, kicked, and good. So Troy Westwood puts the Bombers in front by a field goal with just under 4 minutes to go in the first quarter. In Winnipeg as Coach Dave Ritchie battens down the hatch for a cold one this afternoon, and his gut is churning. His team can finish as high as 2nd and host a playoff game, or miss the playoffs completely in this Wild West. First down, Saskatchewan at the 35 after the Westwood field goal. Nealon Green, shovel pass to Shaw, but there's nowhere to go. Bombers reading that one, Chris.
Nice job of Riley Wickman reading the play. As you say, Mark, coming through on the blitz. He's got Cedric Shaw wherever he goes, finds him and wraps him up. He's just in the middle of your football field. Middle linebacker doing a nice job shedding off the block right there. Donald Heaven can't grab him. Riley Wickman with the stop.
Wickman, who leads the Blue Bombers with 53 tackles coming into this football game. In a tough 2nd and 10 situation. Flags down as there was movement along the line of scrimmage.
Well, Rob Lazio, number 66, should get the procedure call. Looks like he jumped.
Illegal procedure. Saskatchewan 15. Second down repeated.
We'll call Nealon Green for movement behind the center. Another look at it, Chris.
Well, that looks like a head bob when they call that play, but I'm not sure about that because from up here it looked like 66 Rob Lazio just missed the snap count and jumped a little ahead of schedule.
Now the least penalized team in the CFL, the Riders, with their 4th penalty already in this football game. 2nd and 15. Green trouble with the ball. Time across the middle, looking for Quincy Jackson, and he's hit hard by the free safety, Tom Europe.
Now that's what a free safety is supposed to do right there. Not only does it jack your team up, but the fact that it puts a no-enter zone in the middle of the football field. Quincy Jackson's just going to come across, find the opening, a tuck into the middle. Now he gets the ball, dives for it, but a nice job of Tom Europe, 13. Laying him down like that. Great hit. Making Quincy Jackson think twice about coming into that area again.
K.D. Williams jumping into the celebration. Happy to be back. The CFL club he started his career with back in 1995. Punt is away. Arland Bruce loses it in the wind, but picks it up on the bounce, and he's in trouble and brought down is Darnell Edwards from the University of Manitoba. Is first to make contact for Saskatchewan.
One of the things about this football field, I've played a number of years here, is the fact that the wind plays tricks with the football. Even though it's blowing heavy north to south, it pushes the football down sometimes, or other times it'll get a gust underneath it and lift it up higher. Arlen couldn't figure that one out there.
Let's go down to Brenda.
Well, Mark, I just spoke with Kahari Jones about the weather. He says, yes, it's a bit of a factor, but he says he just keeps a little bit more busy than usual on the sidelines to stay warm when he's not in the field. He says, hey, as long as I'm throwing spirals, I'm doing okay.
50-yard punt on the bobble by Bruce. Now Charles Roberts out of the backfield. Hit and driven back on the play by Jackie Mitchell, who has been the yeoman on the Saskatchewan defense.
Well, we definitely mentioned Jackie Mitchell's name's a time or two already in this opening quarter. As again, he's involved, and you almost wonder if Jackie Mitchell is responsible for the coverage and bringing down and watching of number 1, Charles Roberts.
And George White is also available to this Saskatchewan football team as one of the DIs. And we'll likely see him involved in a 3-4 front for Saskatchewan. Second down and 6 for the Bombers. Jones straight back to pass. Down the slot sidelines to Stiegel. It's a little too high and incomplete.
Stiegel just sitting in there, tries to come back into the middle of the football field. Ball just thrown a little over the shoulder there. Has a hard time grabbing it down. Just going to work it. Gets Jackie Mitchell turned around. Tries to turn his body, adjust in the air. Unfortunately, can't come down with a catch on that one.
Jackie Mitchell has been everywhere on the field for Saskatchewan. Cameron to punt. Held up by the wind. The sun was a problem on the last one. Makala has it at the 46. Nearly has the ball stripped, and K.D. Williams is there to make the tackle. 55 seconds and counting to go in the first quarter. Nealon Green's pass intended for Rocky Henry is incomplete. Time ticking on the wind at their back.
Well, Harold Nash is sitting on the numbers. Rocky Henry trying to get to the outside. Harold Nash saying, you know, if I would have saw that ball just a little earlier, I may have had a chance just to break on a football. Had a nice, easy interception.
Rocky Henry out of Utah in his 5th season, his 2nd as a Rough Rider. 2nd and 10, Saskatchewan. With the wind at their back. Green, empty backfield. 6 receiver set. Scrambling now has Dylan Ching as the outlet man. Ching breaks the tackle and is hit hard from behind. Short of the first down. And the Riders will have to punt.
But it all starts with pressure. And again, the Winnipeg defense is putting tremendous pressure on Nealon Green and not allowing him to find any kind of comfort zone, not allowing him to set his feet and find a receiver, forcing him to the outside. And they're giving him the little underneath stuff because the linebackers are coming over and wrapping him up quickly. Nothing there, just gets to the outside, throws the ball away, Dylan Ching. But again, the defense, look at it swarm. David Benefield with that stop.
Paul McCallum with his 4th punt in a row, and this is a beauty, a high spiral driving Arland Bruce III back into his end zone. The ball will go out of touch for a single with 9 seconds to go in the opening quarter. An 82-yard punt for Paul McCallum. Danny Barrett, his team hasn't won here in Winnipeg in 7 years.
They're not happy. They're getting a lot of criticism for their road record, but they've only lost. Their worst road record, or the most points they've had against, is 8 points. And they lost to Toronto 18-11, or 18-10 actually.
What do you make of Danny closing his practice this week and then not practicing here the day before?
You know what? I think that's a great way to do it. I mean, obviously you want to do that because you're doing it on your red zone production, or you're close to your scoring production, your special plays, if you would.
Last play of the first quarter, they'll stay on the ground. Mike Sellers driving up the gut for about 5 yards. And they'll change ends. And the Bombers will have this stiff north wind at their back. When we come back to Canad Inns Stadium, a 3-1 lead for the home team in Winnipeg.
What's coming up next weekend on Sports Saturday. POV Sports will be followed by action from the Men's Volleyball World Championships in Argentina. We will also have the Women's Mountain Bike World Championships. Canada will be led by former world champion Alison Sider and Commonwealth Games champ Chrissy Redden. And then we'll be in Regina. Mark and Chris and I, as the battle continues for playoff spots in the West, as the Riders host the BC Lions.
Yes, and I'm afraid we're going to have to wait until the last week of the season to really decide who plays where in the West. As we look at a sellout crowd in Canad Inns Stadium here in Winnipeg, 29,503.
Need a little beard like that to keep your face warm in this win.
Second down and 5 yards for the Bombers. They've been good on 4 of 7 second down conversions so far in this football game. More importantly, they have the wind at their backs now for the second quarter. Jones back to pass, quick release. It's intended for Roberts, but it's low, and Jackie Mitchell there for good measure.
Kahari's really trying to spread the Saskatchewan defense out from sideline to sideline. Little quick hitch passes, get it out to your quick scat backs like Roberts, and hopefully elude a tackle and make a big play out of it for Jackie Mitchell. Nice job of wrapping him up as we see a very defense.
Yeah, no kidding. Oriented first quarter.
Absolutely. Look at 4 first downs for Winnipeg against the win, as you said. 1 for Saskatchewan. Time of possession relatively even.
The league's best rushing offense with 1 yard on the ground in that first quarter for Saskatchewan. The punt from Cameron. Corey Holmes drops it, falls on it quickly and just in the nick of time. Ryan Clark was there along with K.D. Williams on a 44-yard Bob Cameron punt and no return.
We talked about the fact that the sun was bothering him the other way, but in this direction, remember, in the cold weather, we talked about these footballs before, they have a sheen on them, and they're really hard to hold. They're not sticky at all. They're very slippery, and as you can tell, he's wearing gloves right there. You don't really get a feel for the football, and as a result, that one hits the ground.
The ball shrinks a bit, too, in the cold, and it almost has edges on it at the seams. First down, Nealon Green at the 25. He'll stay on the ground. Cedric Shaw high stepping his way to a first down. Ryan Clark making the tackle for Winnipeg.
Nice job of going off tackle to the right side behind Lazar Mikowski and O'Day. Just get behind the big boys, and once you say high steps, breaks a couple tackles. Nice job of sealing the inside, sealing the backside, allowing him to see him. He gets there, kicks up, and Ryan Clark has to come over from the outside linebacker position to wrap him up.
Shaw, confident running back. Remember, he missed 2 years of pro football after injuring both of his knees in the National Football League. Up the middle again. The handoff to Shaw, this time a short gain on first down.
A little bit of a quick draw, basically set back there, put the ball in Shaw's hands, and hopefully he can find a hole, but that play was just squeezed down. The Bomber defense, too many guys in the line of scrimmage, not allowing Cedric Shaw to find any kind of opening. Just going to sit back there, put him in there, let him find a spot. You can see right there, nobody's blocking David Benefield, who comes untouched to make the play.
Dave Donaldson in, an extra defensive back on second down and 6 for the Riders. 6 receivers set. Nealon Green with lots of time. Can't make up his mind now. He'll roll. Pressure from K.D. Williams. He's got him. K.D.'s first sack as a Bomber since his return to Winnipeg.
Well, K.D. Williams is Mr. Excitement. Was always loved by the fans of Winnipeg. Always wanted to come back here and play. He has a son here. He's so happy. It's all come full circle for him. Spent 4 years years in the NFL, but a nice job. Initially, great protection. He's sitting back there. He's got all kinds of time, but he can't see anybody, can't find anybody. Then he scrambles. 44, Katie with the shoelace tackle. And remember, Katie Williams still holds the record with Winnipeg for the most tackles in a football game with 13 back in '95 against Toronto. So he can do the job.
Oh, the Bombers going after that one. There's a flag on the play as Drover made contact with Paul McCallum. The ball fielded at center field by Arland Bruce.
Well, Jeff Drover, the biggest thing they're going to talk, as you say, they're going to call roughing the kicker. Jeff Drover, you got to go to the block pointer where the ball will be, not where you think the ball will.
Contacting the kicker. Winnipeg 80. Third down. Third.
So Drover on the call. It'll still be third down. And they'll re-kick as McCallum surely wants to get this further than center field.
Well, they always keep their legs up there. That's part of the acting part. That's part of the lessons of being a kicker. Keep that leg up, hopefully to get some kind of contact. Especially when you're not even in that situation close to blocking it. Back away. Turn around, go try and get blocked somebody. Just leave the punter alone.
You see Arland Bruce again fighting the sun, looking directly south. Awaiting this punt from Paul McCallum. This time, lots of time. He tries to keep it low into the wind. Marcus Howell has it at the 45, tries to get outside, and is run down from behind. A 29-yard punt into the wind and a 9-yard return.
And a nice job of Simon Foe to wrap up, because if he didn't, Marcus Howell is going for a long way.
Welcome back to Winnipeg. A 3-1 lead for the Bombers. 12:16 to go in the second quarter. And Nealon Green giving up that 15-yard loss on the sack and putting Saskatchewan in good field position after the punt. Their best starting spot on the field this game at the 52. Jones pumping, wants to go deep down the sideline. Marcus Howell had beaten McCalla, but the ball was too far.
Now with the win, Kahari Jones, who was successful going against the wind throwing a football, just gets a little bit too much on the ball and falls just past the outstretched hands of Marcus Howell. Nice job with the pump fake, trying to freeze the defender, Ladolfius McCalla, who sits, tries to bite on it, and as you say, the ball is a little too far.
First time we've seen Kahari Jones go deep in this football game, now with the wind at his back. 2nd and 10, Blue Bombers at their own 52-yard line. Jones back to pass, time across the middle. Arland Bruce goes up high, has the first down after coming back inside the first down marker, Chris.
It's a nice job again, and we talked about this in the opening, that other players are going to have to step up. Little zone coverage on the secondary with Saskatchewan. Arland Bruce III does a nice job to find a hole. Just sits down there. Good protection, allows a nice throwing lane for Kahari. Throws it there, and as you say, gets knocked back. But look at that, the hand, the balance, the athletic ability of Arland Bruce to keep fighting and picking up that first down.
Second-year man, the sophomore out of Minnesota. First down, Jones again, wide open. And Marcus Howell is hit hard by Reggie Hunt, just shy of the first down marker, settling on that hook pass.
You know what, Kahari Jones says, you know what, if you want to double team Milt Stegall all day, I'll go to the outside, I'll go to Marcus Howell, I'll go to Arland Bruce. He's doing just that. He's mixing it up. He's taking exactly what Saskatchewan's defense is giving him. Right there, they're trying to cheat inside, allowing Howell to get to the outside. We see the pressure. Ray Jacobs back in the lineup, working against another newcomer. Nice job, great feet by the newcomer, Garrett Jones.
On the ground, Mike Sellers plunging for the first down. It looked like Davin Bush was in a zone defense there and got burned on that last pass.
Well, again, that's what they're saying. If you want to sit in a zone defense and you're going to try and double team with a linebacker and a secondary guy against Milt Stegall, somebody's going to be free. In that instance, it was Marcus Howell. Nice job again, good surge, and again, 260 pounds, hopping over the offensive line, punishing the tacklers.
Bombers marching now with their 6th first down of this football game at the the 35 of Saskatchewan. Play action. There's the screen to Charles Roberts, but he's hit immediately. Reggie Hunt, the rookie, who's making a case for Rookie of the Year with the tackle.
He just doesn't. This is exactly how you play this position. He comes from the outside linebacker position, beats the pulling guard, 51, who's going to slide through. Benedict, the BC, the center, is going to get out there now. It's his job to block Reggie Hunt. Reggie Hunt doesn't have nothing of it. Gets around and makes the play. Nice job by Reggie Hunt.
2nd down and 9, and Saskatchewan now in a 3-4 defense. George White has come in along with Melton. Jones with lots of time. Now he's flushed from behind by Trey Jacobs. He'll run to the sideline for a first down.
Kahari Jones only rushed twice last week for a total of 2 yards. Is going to take whatever comes his way today. And he sits down here. Nice protection. Sits down in the pocket. He's looking to the right, looking to the middle. Nothing there. Gets to the outside. Jacobs breaks through finally. But Kahari Jones using the speed, getting to around to the corner, picking up a first down. Look at Mike Sellers working great job of blocking at top. When you're 260 pounds, you're basically another offensive lineman.
Another long drive for the Bombers, their 7th play, with 8:38 to go till the half. Jones across the middle, it's caught by Bruce, and he's hit immediately for a short gain. Jackie Mitchell again with the tackle. Gain of about 3 on the play.
Jackie Mitchell taking the play, making it again. But the biggest thing is it's still positive. It may only be 3 yards, but it's a completion. And again, the middle is opening up. And the other slot back this time, Arlen Bruce III just trailing around, picking up yards, hoping to break a tackle, pick up some other yardage.
So far, Chris, Saskatchewan, with the return of Jacobs and Mitchell, have yet to get much pressure on Jones. Of course, the Saskatchewan team, the worst in the CFL, with only 9 sacks. Jones again looking to the end zone. Arlen Bruce, the intended receiver. There's some bumping with McCalla. Incomplete. No flags.
Well, I really like what the receiver Arlen Bruce did here. He actually slowed up at the pattern just at the end, and what that did is it caused the defender, Walker, 27, to bump into the back. Now, what that does, folks, is if you don't catch the football, a lot of times that'll cause the referee to throw. Watch how he slows down. It causes the referee to throw a flag for pass interference. It's a nice job. He throws it where only Arlen Bruce can come up with the catch.
28-yard attempt by Westwood with the wind, and he's 2 for 2 this afternoon from 34 and 28 yards out. It's a 6-1 Bomber lead with 7:37 to go until the half.
Welcome back to Winnipeg. Paul Bennett played 11 seasons in the CFL, 4 with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. He received numerous awards over the years, including 2 awards as Most Outstanding Canadian in the league, and this year was inducted into the Hall of Fame. And Paul, can you tell me, you've had so many all-star accolades, but is there one particular moment in the league you remember more than most?
Well, I think no question about it. The 86 victory of Hamilton in the Grey Cup over Edmonton was a total pinnacle of a team effort, and we'd gone through a lot of adversity, but that was, for me, 86 Grey Cup.
Tell me, what was it like being inducted into the Hall of Fame?
You know, it was an unbelievable feeling to be involved with such the length of history in the Canadian, from the Canadian Football League, Canadian football in general. So to be part of something like that, to be part of the football fabric of this country was wonderful.
Now let's go back to Chris and Mark.
Thanks, Brenda. The Riders moving here on the first down play, and up the middle, Cedric Shaw twisting and turning to center field, a gain of about 8 yards on the play.
Well, nice job of throwing the ball quickly on the play we didn't see when we were talking to Paul Bennett, old teammate of mine. Out to the outside, stretch the defense, and come right back up the gut right there. Give it quickly to Cedric Shaw, and he does a nice job of picking up 8 yards, putting him in a second and short situation, and allowing Nealon to use more of that playbook.
Yes, and look at the time of possession, 13:56 for the Bombers to 9:17 for Saskatchewan. Most of it on those 2 long Bomber drives that ended in field goals. Green, 2nd and 3, complete to Derek Armstrong right at the first down marker as he stretches across the 53-yard line.
Well, they want to get Derek Armstrong to football. Remember, he had 8 catches for 148 yards last week and a touchdown, including that big one with 15 seconds left in the game to send that game into overtime last week. Just a quick slant pattern. Just going to slant him in there, give him the football quickly. Hopefully he'll break the tackle. Just go right in there, give him the ball. Now it's up to the defender, and that's a nice job of closing by Milo Lewis to make the play.
Another first down for Saskatchewan. Their last 5 drives ended in punt situations. Green now using his legs, rolling. There's some pressure. Pumps once, hangs onto it, throws it down the sideline to nobody. And incomplete on that first down scramble. Brian Clark with pressure from behind.
One of the things that Nealon Green can do is beat you with his legs and get to the outside, and he can either run or throw the football. But as you see on that play, Brian Clark firing through that line like a missile, trying to make that tackle, just coming up short, almost trying to emulate what Katie Williams did earlier in the first quarter.
Danny Barrett telling us yesterday he'd like to see more of that from Nealon Green when he hasn't got a receiver to throw it away rather than take the sack. The Riders leading the CFL with 41 sacks of their quarterbacks. Last week, Green gave up 4. Second down pass situation. Rocky Henry has it for a first down across the Winnipeg 40 as Nealon Green turns up the heat going into the teeth of this Winnipeg north wind.
Well, just sitting back in his zone. Nealon, nice job just sitting back there. Take a look. Rocky Henry just going to work it. Now find a hole. He sees a hole, sits down by the 40-yard line, get the ball quickly, and then make something after you catch the football. But a nice job of Nealon taking exactly what the Bomber defense has given him, in that case, his zone defense.
Rocky Henry's 3rd catch of the ball game for 25 yards so far. First down at the Bomber 39. Play action fake. Green will run for the first time in this football game. Across the 30 to about the 26-yard line, and another Saskatchewan first down.
Well, a design play, little play action quarterback draw. The play action is to freeze the linebackers. Keep everybody stationary for that split second. That allows him an opportunity to find the seam. Gets to the outside, makes one guy miss, and that's what he usually does. And he gets to the open field, and then it becomes a battle to bring him down. They do, but not before he picks up a first down. Take a look at the chart. You can see right there, rushing yards per game. Saskatchewan, 152.6. Let's call it 153. All you mathematicians out there.
Gain was 14 by Nealon Green. First down, he's got to creep up to make himself heard. This time it's a quarterback draw with more yardage to spare. Ball's down. Bombers say they have it, but they'll rule Nealon Green down.
Well, they're going to say the ground caused a fumble, and therefore it's still Regina's football. But the big thing about this is we just saw the quarterback draw off the play action. This is just an option now. Going to fake the pitch to Cedric Shaw, come back inside, finds the opening. Now, if they all close on Nealon Green, he will pitch the football, so look for that later. Nice job of getting outside, finding some seams, and they're doing a nice job of exploiting, just getting enough of a hole to pick up positive first down yardage.
Well, this ground team has come alive. The 8th play of the drive, 62 yards so far. Remember, they had 1 yard rushing in the first quarter with the win. Second down, 2 to go. Corey Holmes up the middle, and he'll have enough for another Saskatchewan first down. The gain is 4 by Holmes as K.D. Williams pleads innocence with the officials.
That's a nice job again, just designed to go to the right. Corey Holmes with the great athletic ability, just cutting it back, taking it to the wide side of the field against the grain of the defense, picking up the necessary yardage for the first down. As you say, Mark, both offenses seem to be moving the ball better against the wind.
Last week, the Riders were held to 99 rushing yards, but they didn't put the ball on the ground much in the fourth quarter. Danny Barrett on the Saskatchewan sideline, the old quarterback, sending in the next play. This will be the 9th play of this drive for the Riders. A balanced attack so far, Chris, with 4 passes and 4 rushes. started on their own 35 into the wind. Now threatening on the Bomber 14. First down. The handoff to Corey Holmes up the gut. And he's smothered by a host of Bomber tacklers.
Well, big Doug Brown again inside there with Fortney. I mean, that's a tough place to run that football. I think you're more successful when you're running. You see, they're trying to get Chris Zark out of it. But I think the biggest thing right now is you have to run sort of misdirection to split that defense, make it spread out a little bit. If you keep everything inside the box or between the two tackles, mighty tough to run the football.
Corey Grant into the game at receiver. A recent acquisition from Montreal 2 weeks ago. Second down and 10 from the 14. Green going to the end zone. Incomplete, but flags are down. Intended for Corey Grant.
Well, that flag was thrown in mid-range, not exactly where the receiver was trying to come up with the football.
Holding, Winnipeg 60. Penalty is declined. Third down.
Well, I would think that he's talking Saskatchewan 60. I don't think the guy on Winnipeg's bench, number 6, is going to be too happy to hear about that penalty. But Jim Mikowski, the right tackle, Saskatchewan, called for the infraction, the holding penalty.
So the Rider field goal unit comes onto the field after a promising looking drive. Callum from the 22 is wide. Right into the wind, and it did something with that football, Chris. So what looked like a chip shot goes wide for a single. Paul McCallum had that field goal dead center until the wind got a hold of it, Chris.
Well, the biggest thing is he's aiming right here. He's going to aim. You see that football right there? That's where he's trying to aim. Now watch what happens as he kicks this football. It goes right in. It's going right to the middle, and all of a sudden the wind catches it and blows it wide.
That Winnipeg North wind defying Paul McCallum, who has kicked 8 field goals in the last 2 games. Pump action back to the far side for Marcus Howell on the pass attempt from Jones, and it's way over his head. Incomplete.
Well, a little trick play, fake to the right. They're going to try and throw it to Charles Robinson. Spin around, hoping to catch the defense cheating and get it over there to Marcus Howell, but that ball took off and falls incomplete.
Well, last week, Kahari Jones was throwing a lot of short passes, moving the pocket, buying himself more time. He's got the wind behind him with 1:46 to go until the half. Might we see a deep strike?
Well, one of the things I thought he did so effectively was he changed and adapted to a short game, but he also used the screen very effectively. We haven't seen that yet today.
Having to buy some time himself this time. Jones just throws it away across the line of scrimmage, and that will end this offensive drive for the Blue Bombers on 2 incomplete passes.
Well, good pressure. Terrence Melton, 37, coming through. Ray Jacobs again. They're just going to bring it. Travis Smith, 48. They're just going to work and see 37. Melton comes in there. Nice job by the left tackle, burying him. But as a result, that creates some more openings, and the rest of his teammates of Saskatchewan come over to finish the job.
Terrence Melton enjoying that defensive stand. Here's Bob Cameron now from his own 22. Taken by Corey Holmes at the 35. Holmes, who's been trouble for all teams in the CFL on punt returns this season, is brought down across the 50 for a 15-yard gain on a 40-yard punt by Bob Cameron. Sellers exchanging pleasantries with Corey Holmes there. The Bombers gave up one 43-yard punt return last week to Holmes. But this man had 245 yards in kick returns in their first game on Labor Day.
Well, he just keeps his legs driving. That's the biggest thing. He breaks tackles. He's one of these guys that has the mentality that he won't be brought down by the first guy. And as a result, most of the time when he breaks that first tackle, he's going a long way.
So it's first down, Saskatchewan at their own 50-yard line with 1:27 to go. Nealon Green back to work after a nice drive on the last series. Chris Zarka takes the handoff up the middle and a gain of about 3. Here's Brenda.
Well, Mark, coming up at the half, Chris will have his Dodge Pro Tips for us. This week, Doug Brown and Wayne Weathers will give Chris a hand. Then on our Canadian Football Heroes series, we'll sit down with Winnipeg's Troy Westwood, one of the heroes in last weekend's game. Mark?
You know, Dave Ritchie was saying Doug Brown never complains. The guy is held game in, game out. He claims that there haven't been any holding penalties against the Bomber defense this season.
I tell you what, I had the opportunity to play when Dave Ritchie was coaching with us as a defensive coordinator. And I tell you what, he's happy. You know when he's happy? He's happy at dinner. He's happy when his favorite TV show's on. He's never happy at a football game unless it's over and his team won. He's always going to find something to rag about. I just love that about him.
He's talking about all the spy stories this week. He said, you know, Danny Barrett and I both went to the University of Cincinnati. He didn't graduate from the University of Paranoia. A little shot at his friend Danny Barrett. Here's Nealon Green, second and long, throwing it away. The intended receiver looked like Derek Armstrong, and there's a late flag on the sideline. Right in front of the Saskatchewan bench.
Well, it was way after the play, and as you say, it was thrown by the bench. And you're wondering again if there was something said. I mean, Winnipeg has got 20 penalties this year for objectionable conduct.
Major foul, unnecessary roughness. Winnipeg number 5, first down.
Well, the undisciplined behavior in this case of Marvin Coleman has been the story for the Bombers this year. They lead the CFL in penalties.
Well, he's right here. You can see he's right in the middle of your screen. And what he does, he just pushes. I mean, and that's Shante Peoples that he's pushing. I mean, you know what? I mean, I got to tell you something. Marvin Coleman and Shante Peoples are friends. And that was just more of a thing of just going over, having some fun with your player. But you can't do that, and that's one of the things I say. Finish your job, get back in a huddle. Let's worry about the next play. Don't worry about that extracurricular stuff.
Les Brown taking exception with that call, but it's a first down. Here's the quarterback draw by Nealon Green, and he'll bounce and dive up towards the 35. Gain will be about 6 on the play.
Well, the nice thing about Nealon Green is if he's going to spread them out like that, he's going to create openings and get the linebackers out of the way. So he's by himself right there. Because the backs are to the wide side, the linebackers have to respect those backs. So they themselves have to go to the wide side. That leaves openings in the middle of that defensive line. Nealon Green trying to get through one of them right there.
And what's got to really make Dave Ritchie mad right now is that penalty to Marvin Coleman kept this drive alive.
You know, and I think there's reasons for call. If you hit a guy, if you head slap, if you're punching, or if you're verbally abusive, yes. But that was nothing. As you say, that should just come back, let the game go on.
But when a team has a reputation, you got to know that they'll be looking for it, right, Chris?
They are the Mike Tyson of the Canadian Football League, and if they can ever throw the book at you, they will.
Second down, Saskatchewan, 4 yards to go. The ball just shy of the Winnipeg 35. 40 seconds and counting to go until halftime. Green will pass. Derek Armstrong has it for a first down.
Just a nice job of getting to the opening, finding out he sees the coverage, and that's recognition by the quarterback. All he's doing is, again, another slant pattern. What he does is he leaves the corner of the football field over the coverage by Marvin Coleman, and that puts him in a situation now where the coverage switches to number 26, Milo Lewis, who has to come over and wrap that play up, but not before they pick up a first down.
Final 30 seconds, Saskatchewan in the hurry-up offense. Green now looking to the end zone for Derek Armstrong. It's incomplete as Armstrong was closely covered by Harold Nash, and both lost it in the sun, Chris.
Well, they both lost in the sun, but if you're going to have a guy cover the dangerous Derek Armstrong, this is the guy to have. Harold Nash Jr. again. You don't talk about this guy very often, you know, and that's a good thing. This does an absolutely wonderful job of staying with the receiver all the way down the football field, not losing it all. As you say, both had a little trouble with the sunlight, but didn't affect the play.
With the incompletion, 23 seconds on the clock and a chance to huddle for Saskatchewan. Crowd, the sellout here in Winnipeg, rising up with their thunder sticks, trying to make some noise. Green now, rolling right. He's going to run. Rexterfield puts his head down and knocks Green forward. We'll see where they place it, but he'll be 2, maybe 3 yards shy of the first down with 17 seconds to go until halftime.
Well, one of the things that I see different about Nealon Green today than I have in the past weeks, he has recovered 100% now from that hamstring. And Danny Barrett himself said that a lot of times he wouldn't really go to the far outside or run this hard. I mean, he's putting his head down, lowering the shoulder, trying to get those yards. The other times he would cut back when his hamstring wasn't 100%, cut back in the middle, get what he could, and then go down. He's running over people today, Mark.
So Paul McCallum almost in the same position. He missed the last one, but 10 yards back from the 31. Right hash mark. No time left on the clock. The ball is up, and this time it's good. So Paul McCallum brings the Roughriders to within 1 point of Winnipeg on the last play of the first half as Danny Barrett takes his troops to the locker room down 6-5.
For Dave Ritchie.
Into the wind. Danny Barrett's Roughriders perform much better offensively than they did in the first quarter when they had 1 yard on the ground.
Well, both teams did well against the wind, and they used a control-type offense. Nealon Green really was effective, though, with the quarterback keeper. All second quarter, every time, if it was off the play action or if it was off the fake pitch, he just did it, and he was successful doing it.
All right, let's go downstairs, and here's Brenda.
Well, Winnipeg with the lead heading into the half, and Dave Ritchie, I can tell by your expression on the sidelines, you weren't happy with that last penalty called on your guy.
Not at all. I think it's a defensive play for us and a defensive play for them on the sideline. They must have said something. They didn't say anything, I don't think. I don't know what happened over there. It's too far for me to see, but anyway, you know, hey, they did it, they did it.
The wind's playing havoc with some of the kickers today. How are your guys finding the weather?
The weather's tough. The wind's tough both ways. We basically had the wind in the second period, and we're going to get it in the fourth period because I'll give them the ball again in the third period, and we'll get it again in the fourth period.
Good luck the rest of the way.
Thanks.
So at the end of the first half of play, it's the Winnipeg Blue Bombers and ahead of the Saskatchewan Roughriders 6-5. We'll be back with our halftime report from Winnipeg in a moment. What did you tell your team during the break?
Well, the bottom line is that we're right where we want to be. We just got to finish the job right now. The guys came out and played with a lot of intensity, and we just kept our composure. That was the key for ourselves, and now we just got to take it up to another level in the third quarter.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Hello to Allison and everybody at the house. I love you guys.
Well, the Blue Bombers won the coin toss, and they have deferred their decision to the second half. They will kick off and give up the ball, but they'll have the ball and the win for the fourth quarter, Chris.
Well, the fourth quarter is where it all comes to, especially if you need a field goal, a long one with the win.
Kennedy and Kiason now negotiating his way left and right. After catching that ball at his own 34, he moves all the way up to about the 48-yard line as Nealon Green gets set to come back on offense for Saskatchewan. He has engineered a couple of good drives against the wind, mixing the pass and the run, rolling the pocket, and using his legs. His threat to run now.
I think that's exactly what he's got to do. He's got to stretch the defense. You can't sit back there stationary. You've got to get out there and make this defense respect you.
Green staying on the ground to Shaw with a big gain. Cutting left, now down the far sideline, around past Tyrone Bell, and then out of bounds as the safety Tom Europe wards him off for a big first down.
Well, Cedric Shaw only got 56 yards on the ground in a total game last week. Does a nice job of just getting that football. Good acceleration through the hole, then breaking it to the outside. And when he gets to the outside, he shows you some of that foot speed he has.
Gain is 24 yards for Cedric Shaw, and the biggest offensive gain so far in this football game. Saskatchewan trying to make good with the wind in this third quarter. Shotgun, drop ball, fumble. Green picks it up, rolling, throws it away, and dodges a serious setback there.
Well, that's a nice job, great job of getting out there.
How about your game notes, sir? We'll update them from pregame.
Well, we talked about Saskatchewan. Don't wait until the fourth quarter. Well, it looks like they might just do that. Only 5 points in the first half. Albeit they're still in the game, down only 6-5. Take the sweetness out of Special K. Harry Jones has only got 61 passing yards, and there's the big one, no touchdowns. But Winnipeg spread the ball around. They've done a pretty good job with that. 4 receivers have caught passes, but the big one, Milt Stiegel, with only 1. And on defense, tighten up the back end, the secondary, and they've done a nice job only allowing 55 yards through the air.
Yes, Nealon Green, just 9 of 16 in the first half, barely 50% for 55 yards, but it's been the ground game that has worked well for this league-leading ground offensive attack. It is 2nd down and 10, Saskatchewan, and they will be called here for a time count violation as the clock ticks to 0. There's a timeout called in time, though.
Well, that's the argument. As you see, Nealon Green is saying, I made the signal. I was trying to call.
Saskatchewan.
Oh, he did get it just in the nick of time as that clock struck 0. But is it a waste of a timeout so early in the second half?
No, I don't think it's ever a waste. I think you go back and you confer with the quarterback. You get him with the head coach, Danny Barrett. You get the play straight. You don't make a mistake. It's always smart to use.
Well, here's how Nealon Green has distributed his passing in the first half, Chris.
Well, you can see a lot of the completions and where they all are. They're all short passes. They're all to the sidelines. That's basically just going to the side right there.
Nothing longer than 15. Nothing attempted deeper than 30. 2nd down and 10 for Green in the shotgun movement along the Bomber defensive line. This might be a freebie. Lots of time for Green. Flat-footed now. He'll be flush from the pocket. He gets it away. It's complete to Cedric Shaw, who is pulled down from behind by Lamar McGriggs. But it did look like there was some movement on the Bomber D-line.
That's a nice thing, as you say, Mark. You're going to call offside against the Bomber defense, but Nealon Green showing you why he's so dangerous as a runner. Doesn't like to be labeled as only a runner. He's a 60% passing quarterback, but he can really hurt you when he gets to the outside and he avoids
Offside,
sacks.
Winnipeg 19. 2nd down repeated.
Well, that's Anoki Rectorfield, defensive end. Jumps offside. Just basically at the top right there. Gets ahead, trying to get a jump on 52 to tackle Donald Heaven. Referee right there throws the flag and make it 2nd and 5.
Green has rushed 4 times in this game so far for 35 yards. But again, a Winnipeg penalty keeping a Saskatchewan drive alive. 2nd down and 6. Green to the air. It's high. It's complete to Rocky Henry and a 1st down with coverage from Harold Nash.
Well, Harold Nash almost looked like he wanted to come up and try and jump and catch this football. Misjudged it. Back middle. Changed direction. Went back and decided he better get over there because he mistimed this. And the ball goes over. And a nice catch, you see, to Rocky Henry. Very fortunate that the progression of that football forced Rocky Henry out of bounds, or he may have taken it down the sidelines for a score.
Oh, Henry now limping off to the Saskatchewan bench, and Corey Grant has come in to replace him at receiver for Saskatchewan. 1st down, Roughriders, ball on the Winnipeg 22. Here's a counter. Holmes has it, but he's hog-tied quickly by Lamar McGriggs.
Well, Lamar McGriggs does an absolutely great job of staying at home, not going with the flow. That's exactly what you have to do if you're the backside linebacker. Just going to follow the flow. Now he goes over there and he comes up and makes the play. And that's exactly how you want to play it. If you get caught too tight into the line of scrimmage, you're not allowed to flow down to the outside. You won't make that play. And the running back will be off to the races.
Jason French having trouble making the block on that play to help Holmes. 2nd down and 9. 6 receivers set into the end zone. Nealon Green looking for Quincy Jackson. He's pushed and goes down. Contact from Harold Nash. No flags. It's incomplete.
One-on-one coverage to the corner of the end zone. Harold Nash again. Superb coverage. Step for step with Quincy Jackson. One-on-one coverage. Trying to get a step, and the biggest thing that happens here, Quincy Jackson is going to go a little stutter step, and then it turns on the burners. But Harold Nash, great speed, playing the football, always keeping the receiver, checking where he is with his hand.
Quincy Jackson yet to make a catch in this football game as McCallum attempts his 3rd field goal from the 34 with the wind, and it's a line drive splitting the uprights and good. And so Saskatchewan taking an 8-6 lead on a 29-yard field goal by Paul McCallum as Quincy Jackson comes oh so close.
Well, welcome back to Winnipeg. Winnipeg. A little earlier, I spoke with Riders kicker Paul McCallum. I asked him what's going on with the wind. His response, I have no idea. That's the problem. He says 1 minute it's caught in the nest. There's a huge gust of wind. He also said that the direction is erratic as well, and you could see that earlier in this game, Mark and Chris.
I'll tell you what, if he doesn't know what's going on with the wind, nobody does, because he has to handle that Saskatchewan wind, and 2 weeks ago he kicked 5 of 6 in a 60K gale force wind. Last week he had 3 more, so it must be bad if McCallum, who's attempted 3 and has 2 so far, is perplexed.
Well, remember who's making the comment. It's a kicker, for God's sakes. That should explain everything to the viewing.
Yes, your favorite position.
As you sit in the stands, mind you, would have to take time to get him down to the field to kick.
Last 3 Saskatchewan drives ended in field goal attempts. Winnipeg on the ground. Charles Roberts dancing for a first down on a 2nd and 3 situation. Kahari Jones passing distribution in the first half, big man.
Well, much similar to what we looked at Nealon Green. Short passes, 10 yards, all the completions. Attempted a few deep, but incomplete. And basically, they're all staying with the short, safe routes right now. Just trying to get the ball in the quick receiver's hands. Hopefully, he can make somebody miss and make a big play.
It's that dreaded Winnipeg north wind that is causing all the trouble. And right now, Jones is passing straight into it. Looking to the flats, then he dumps it off to Charles Roberts again, twisting at center field and hauled down by Travis Smith for a gain of about 5 on the play.
Well, that's a nice job of just taking what's there. Like Kahari Jones, just going to sit back there, set the back end, and Mike Starr's just going to leak through one direction. Charles Roberts leaks out to the opposite side, just puts it in his hands, and the scat back picks up about a good 6 yards on a first down, making it 2nd and short.
Again, a long handoff to Charles Roberts, trying to take advantage of his athletic ability. 2nd down and 5. Quick drop across the middle. Arlen Bruce has to reach and has that one, as Javier Walker was right there making the contact.
Well, Javier Walker and Reggie Hunt, but I tell you what, great hands and concentration by Arlen Bruce III to reach, as you say, reach out and grab that ball and hold on to it, knowing full well he's going to get hit. Arlen Bruce III, who Milt Stegall says will be a star in this league, and watch for this guy in years to come.
Well, right now he's the feature receiver. That's his 4th catch for 33 yards for Winnipeg. Stegall with 1 catch for 7 so far. Not a factor. On the ground, Charles Roberts going right outside, and Travis Smith rides him down for a gain of about 2.
Just a fancy toss play to the outside. You're going to pull the front side guard. In this case, Mo Elwanibi, 64, is going to get around. Gets around there. Now he's got to read the big man's butt. As soon as he go inside, he's got to stay to the outside. If he kicks out, he's got to cut it back inside. That play hooks inside. Charles Roberts stays to the outside, picks up 2 yards.
The all-purpose yards leader in the CFL, coming in with 2,469 yards and 4 100-yard games on the ground so far. The yards have been hard to come by in Winnipeg today. Back to pass, Jones, it's complete, and Milt Stegall has his 2nd catch of the ball game.
Well, they're trying to get Jackie Mitchell to take away the middle of the football field. Milt Stegall does a nice job of just getting to the outside, which forces Davin Bush to cover him. But in between those 2 defenders, there's an opening, and a nice job of Kahari getting Milt Stegall the football. Just going to slide in between the 2 covers. Does a nice job of going down Davin Bush, who has to come over and make the play.
Kahari was telling me yesterday, when he sees man coverage, he's going to go after the 2 halfbacks. Javier Walker and Davin Bush. That time Bush caught. This time, Ray Jacobs making the tackle on Charles Roberts at the line of scrimmage.
Well, Ray Jacobs back from the flu bug, happy to be back in the lineup. A force just coming from the bottom of your screen, shed the tackle right there. Garrick Jones, who's done a pretty good job all day, was shutting down number 50. That time the winner, though, Ray Jacobs making the play.
Top pressure man on the defensive line for Saskatchewan, missed last week's game with the flu. Jones so far in the 2nd half, good on 3 of 3 attempts for 24 yards into the wind. 2nd down and 10. Straight back to pass. Kahari Jones complete to Arlen Bruce. Again, Jabir Walker, the rookie, victimized on that one.
Well, one-on-one coverage on that play. Man coverage. Jabir Walker's got to take Arlen Bruce. He's got to stay with him. But on this play, a nice job of Arlen Bruce of going and breaking it off into the middle of the football field. And what he does, he's got great speed. He gets separation from the defender. He's got a good yard and a half where all Jabir Walker can do is reach for him to try and bring him down. But unfortunately, not until he makes the catch and moves the sticks.
Another Winnipeg first down at the Saskatchewan 22. Going into the wind, using up all the time Saskatchewan was hoping for with the wind. That one intended for Charles Roberts, and it hit him in the knees. Incomplete. But again, he's going after those two inside halfbacks. That one, Davin Bush, again beaten on the play.
Looking for mismatches, and exactly what he got there right there. Had he got that ball up, Mark, and put it in Charles Roberts' hands, I think it would have been a mismatch, and he would have took it for some yardage. Right there, Saskatchewan very fortunate that the ball was thrown low where Roberts couldn't come up with the catch.
Jabir Walker into this football game for Omar Evans, who has a deep bruise and is still barely walking. And of course, Davin Bush in for Eddie Davis, the broken arm. Jones back to pass into the flats, into the sun, looking for Bruce. Close coverage there by Walker, and it's incomplete.
A nice job of getting the football to Arlen Bruce, with good coverage by Jabir Walker right there. But Walker almost looked like he didn't see the football, didn't make a play at the football. The only one who really made a play in the football, as you can see, gets his hands up there, is Arlen Bruce. You wonder if the sun played in that catch there.
They're looking right back into that sun.
What are you doing, Joe?
No West guy here. This attempt from the 29 for Troy Westwood, who's been good on 2 of 2 so far. Into the wind, he hits it hard and true. It's good. Troy Westwood simply perfect on 3 field goals this afternoon as the Bombers retake the lead by 1 here in the third quarter. Welcome back to Winnipeg on a chilly Prairie afternoon. A 9-8 lead as Winnipeg moves up by 1 on Troy Westwood's 3 field goals. Dave Ritchie churning on the Bombers sideline.
He must be doing something to stay warm with that thing. That's a parka.
The ball blows off the tee, and so Westwood will have to set it up again at his own 35. How about this on that last drive? 11 plays by the Bombers, used up 6 minutes and 8 seconds into the wind, leaving 5:45 to go in the third quarter for Saskatchewan to take advantage of this win. High bounce taken by Kennedy Nikiasen. He breaks the first tackle, returns the ball across the 50-yard line, so tremendous field position for Saskatchewan to start this drive. 40-yard kickoff and a 15-yard return. And once again, Nealon Green goes back to work. Saskatchewan has lost 7 years in a row here in Winnipeg. Got to go back to 1994 for their last victory. Danny Barrett saying he loves being involved in a playoff race because it's been 5 years since Saskatchewan had any chance. Draw play up the middle to Shaw, and there's no going there.
Well, no go, and Benefield making the play behind the line of scrimmage. But again, the tower, Doug Brown, 97, and his partner in crime, Denny Fortney. Look at him, just stuffing the line of scrimmage right there at the point of contact, allowing Benefield to come down and make the play. These two towers, Doug Brown, 6'7", 300 plus, and Fortney, 280 pounders. These guys are really getting it done in the middle.
So it's 2nd and 10. Saskatchewan at the 50. Green with a flat pass. It's knocked down. Brian Clark, I think, got his hand on it to break it up. And Saskatchewan will have to punt.
Well, Brian Clark coming from the outside linebacker position on a delayed blitz. Gets the hand up, as you say, and knocks the pass down. Pressure comes. He tries to throw it out to the flat. And you can see Brian Clark just leaving his feet, climbing the ladder. Knocking that ball down, not allowing Cedric Shaw to come up with a catch and possibly keep this drive alive. And again, the defense does its job, Mark, after giving Saskatchewan great field position to start that drive.
High punt from McCallum. He had one for 82 yards in the first half. This one takes a tremendous bounce out of bounds in front of Arlan Bruce. And so there's no chance for a Winnipeg return. A 48-yard punt by McCallum. Paul McCallum in a kicker's duel with Troy Westwood. I know, big man, this is bugging you, but you got to talk kickers today.
Well, I love this. You know Marcus Hall's doing just exactly what he's got to do. Watch this. Look at this. Watch him go down there. I mean, know. Seriously.
It's an Academy Award-winning performance there.
He went down faster than the Titanic.
Deepest start for a Winnipeg drive at their own 12-yard line. But the story here in the third quarter, Saskatchewan with nothing to show with the wind at their back. Roberts forced out of bounds by Reggie Hunt.
Well, the Bomber defense did their job the last stand right now. Now it's up to the Rough Rider defense to make a stand here and force Winnipeg to punt into that wind, into that deadly wind, which will give them a good field position and allow them to at least get the ball in a situation where McCallum, who we just mentioned earlier, has an attempt at a field goal.
So Reggie Hunt stringing that play out for no gain, 2nd and 10. Blue Bombers at their own 12-yard line. Jones straight back to pass in the pocket. Across the middle, intended for Charles Roberts, off his fingertips with Jason Mallett there to make contact.
That's a nice job of the safety. Jason Mallett cheating up, reading the play before it happens and seeing Charles Roberts sneak out of the backfield. That's a good job of recognition and staying with him. You see, he comes right across the field right there, and there's 21, Jason Mallett, coming from his free safety position. Put the knock on Charles Roberts and knock that play down. See, Mo Elwanibi is down on the field right there. And, boy, he's been playing with a lot of pain. He hasn't really talked about it, Mark, but there's so many injuries on that offensive line. They can't afford to lose anybody, especially a guy with the caliber of Elwanibi. And boy, hope nothing's too serious right there.
You are watching the Canadian Football League, brought to you by America One.
Still down, and the rash of injuries have plagued the offensive line for Winnipeg this year. 11 players have been featured so far, and this is bad because he's one of only 2 veterans. He and Dave Mudge on the O-line right now with 3 rookies, and they have 2 defensive linemen. Well, there's John Oosterhuis who'll come in. The other, of course, is Denny Fortney as backups on the offensive line.
Well, remember, they found Eric Wilson, who was a defensive lineman earlier this year, and they moved him over to offensive line, and they really liked his tenacity as we take a look again at the O-line starts this year, the MASH unit, if you would, and all the guys they've had to go through, and they can ill afford to lose Elwanibi right now. I mean, we talked to him earlier in the game. He's all excited about playing this game. Thanksgiving. He's got family here watching. He's got his daughter Grace is celebrating her first birthday tomorrow, and he wanted to wish her a happy birthday. And I'm sure she's watching at home and wants to know how Dad is too.
They're running out of offensive line jerseys too. They only have numbers 50, 52, and 53 left because of the numbers who've played on the O-line. And I see they've given Oosterhuis 59. They come in on the O-line as Cameron stands in his own end zone here. The punt.
And they can't give mine either because I stole mine.
I thought yours is still in that Madame Tussauds Wax Museum display inside the Bomber locker room.
You know, they had to take that museum down because I left my wallet in it when they took the plexiglass there. And I needed some cash.
Well, they sort this out. We had a chance to talk to Dave Ritchie about the trials of his offensive line and trying to put together this MASH unit through the course of this season.
People don't want to come right now with 4 games left in the season, but we're still trying. It's not easy things. Every one of our O-line has either had an operation and they're through, an Achilles. All our injuries, I think we 10 or 11 or 12 of them right now, injuries that you can't possibly get back from.
And the latest from the Bomber bench is that Elowanibi has tweaked his back, but he should return. Cameron now to give up the safety and trying to take more time off the clock as he escapes out of touch with 2:57 to go in the third quarter.
It's a nice job of a smart call, especially when you're punting into this gale of a wind in your own end zone. Give them the 2 points. If you have to kick off, you kick off from a better spot, and you basically force Saskatchewan to start off with the worse field position than they would have had they had to punt that football.
See, we took the safety to get 2 points. Put it down. Now, if they get it on the 50, they get 1 first down, and it's a field goal.
They don't get a first down. That's it.
Dave Ritchie rehashing that decision to give up the safety, talking with Troy Westwood, and that was Daryl Sampson, another ex-teammate who's special team coach here. But the point from Ritchie is, with this wind, had they tried to punt, it's an automatic field goal position for Saskatchewan.
Well, and it could be worse when the ball gets hung up sometimes. You never know what can happen, especially when you got a guy like Corey Holmes returning the punt. So I think it's a smart decision by Coach Ritchie, and it forces Troy Westwood to kick off his own 35, and hopefully they'll be able to pin Saskatchewan on their own side of the football field.
So with the safety, Winnipeg gives up the lead. Saskatchewan now up by 1, 10-9, and Westwood kicking off. Drilling it to the sideline. It goes out of bounds at the 30-yard line. Now, will they take it there, or will they force them to kick off again?
Well, they can force them back and make them kick again into this wind, or they can just take the ball, I believe, at their own 45-yard line. And I think that's what they're going to do, as we see the offensive linemen come out, and they don't like to run too much. So if they're coming on the football field, they're basically
illegal kickoff.
For work.
Winnipeg 7. First down Saskatchewan on 45.
So Westwood kicks it out of bounds, and Saskatchewan will scrimmage from their own 45-yard line with 2:40 to go with the wind at their backs in the third quarter. Derek Armstrong with the catch, a short pass again in the flats at the 50, and there's a skirmish. The ball is loose in front of the Bomber bench. Tom Europe says Winnipeg has it, but it looks like they'll rule it dead.
Well, Marvin Cole with good coverage, keeping everything in front of him as he throws a quick hitch pass outside. Derek Armstrong gets the ball. Marvin Cole wraps him up right now. He's trying to throw them, and as the ball's hit, you can see 48. Brian Clark hits him from behind. That ball does come out. Now the question obviously is the knee down? If the knee is down,
I don't know, Chris. Looks like a fumble to me.
That's a fumble right there.
Second down and 4. Saskatchewan. Green waiting, looking, can't find a receiver open, still with time. Now he'll run. He won't get the first down. Richterfield makes the tackle.
Well, anytime you see a quarterback like that scrambling from side to side, trying to find something, you know where the kudos go? The kudos go to the secondary of the Bomber defense, who had excellent coverage over there, not allowing anything to come open, forcing Nealon Green to scramble for anything. He had to actually tuck it away, and he got tackled short of the first down, and now they got a punt.
Let's listen to the whistle on that last non-fumble.
Again, it all depends where the knee is.
The ball was out before the whistle, Chris. McCallum will punt, though, in this 3rd and 5 situation. Gets the ball high, a spiral. There is a flag down, though. Harlan Bruce has it at his own 10. Bruce brought down after a short return. Gain of 7 on the return after a 50-yard punt.
You know, Mark, and you look at that replay and you're listening for the whistle again, but the quick whistle can't really help that play anyway, because the play is stopped when he's brought down. All right, his knees haven't hit the ground yet. So if he shakes off that tackle and keeps running.
Procedure, Saskatchewan 20, your 3rd down repeated.
As they re-kick the ball, I mean, my big thing is the fact that you can't have a quick whistle on that anyway, because he's not down. Now, the quick whistle, if he's on the ground, the ball comes out, yes. But when his knees aren't touching on the ground, the whistle really doesn't play into it.
So Saskatchewan getting a break on that non-fumble, and the 50-yard punt by Paul McCallum negated by the procedure call. McCallum has been averaging 52 yards punting with this win today. Now he stands at his own 31. High snap. Thinks about a fake momentarily, then kicks it end over end on the bounce to Arlen Bruce. It gets by him to the goal line, into the end zone. Bruce brings it out to the 5, at the 10, and then knocked down. And the bounce has worked well for McCallum today.
Well, you know what, and the thing is, you know, we got to give credit to McCallum. That's a nice job of kicking the ball purposely to make it bounce like that, aiming for a spot of openness in the football field, allowing the ball to come. That's all he's doing. He's not aiming to kick it deep over the head. He's just hoping to get a good bounce. He comes up the winner on that one as it bounces and drives Arlen Bruce all the way back in the end zone. Then it's up to the cover team, and they're equal to the task. They bring them down and force Winnipeg to start at their own 12-yard line.
I don't know if he's doing it on purpose, but it looks like he's getting a top spin to his punt, because he's had 2 now bounce past Arlen Bruce into the end zone with the wind, 1 that went out of bounds in front of Bruce.
Remember, he's not trying to power the football, though, so I think he is trying to put that bounce on.
Kahari Jones to the flats. Milt Stiegel has it, and he has a Bomber first down in front of Davin Bush again.
Well, one-on-one man coverage, we talked about this, and every time he sees that coverage, Kahari Jones is smart enough to say, you know what, I'm going to look to my buddy 85. Does a nice job, just comes outside. Now, when he moves across the football field from behind there, what he does to the defense is he makes that defense declare what they're going to do. In that case, he saw the man coverage, Kahari recognized it, threw it, completed it to Milt Stiegel.
Stiegel now with 3 receptions for 30 yards after a slow first half. 1 catch for 7. Bomber first down. Again, moving the ball into the wind. Jones, look at the time he has behind the mash unit. Stiegel again, this time right down the middle. Complete for a gain of 17 yards and another Winnipeg first down.
Well, the last time was man-to-man coverage. This time it's zone coverage. Now the biggest thing about this is you better have protection by the offensive line to complete this. They do a nice job of, look at the time he's got, and a nice job of giving him a throw. Look at that right here. That is a great throw lane. An open area for the quarterback to see it, to find Milt Stiegel in the zone.
Last play of the third quarter, then the Bombers get the win for the 4th. Jones again, time in the pocket, steps up, now tries to roll away from the rush, and he's sacked. Jackie Mitchell filling from the outside linebacking position to put the halt on the Bomber quarterback as the gun goes to end the third quarter. 1 point separates Winnipeg and Saskatchewan. To see the flame, Sandy Monteith, back in the ballpark, setting his hair on fire. About a 20-foot flame going there in the pregame.
I tell you what, I don't know who told us the story, but somebody was telling us the story earlier today, how he got started.
Oh, yeah, that was...
With a can of tuna with some gunpowder on the top of his head. I said to myself, this guy should be on Fear Factor.
Second down and 14 after Jackie Mitchell's first sack of the season against Kahari Jones. The Bombers have the win. Jones staying in the pocket again. Pass deep down the left sideline on a one-hopper intended for Jeff Grover and incomplete. Third quarter numbers, sir.
Well, you can take a look at the first downs. I mean, the big adjustment. Winnipeg, 6 first downs. They take the lead, 13-10, but a close game. Look at the time, 22-23. It's going to come down to who's got the ball with the littlest time left on the clock and who's going to kick a field goal or a single. It might come down to that. Very even. Yards 152-161.
The amazing thing is both offenses have been at their best into the win. Here's Corey Holmes. Nowhere to go. As Anthony Williams makes the tackle on a 34-yard Bob Cameron punt and a 4-yard return. Jones showing some frustration after the last sack. Only had one sack against him last week.
Well, you know what? I think the sack also played it, but I also think he's more mad at himself because he threw that football to the flat and he was hoping to be with the defender, Omar Morgan, falling down. That had he got it to the receiver, he could have made a big play. I think that was more.
Didn't have enough arm on that ball, and even though he had the wind at his back, it was a wide side pass on this big 65-yard wide field. First down. Elon Green goes to the air into the wind, intended for Cedric Shaw. Incomplete. He claimed that Tom Europe grabbed his arm.
Well, bringing the blitz. Tom Europe coming. Katie Williams coming from the outside. Cedric Shaw's just going to slide out of the backfield. Working against Europe. It's a nice job. I know what Cedric Shaw's saying. He's saying he grabbed my arm and he kept it down, but these are pretty powerful athletes. I think when it's an intentional interference where you're really disrupting him from catching the football, I don't think that was too intentional.
Second down and 10. Saskatchewan. Flags flying now as time runs out. And it will be a time count violation.
Saskatchewan 50. Second down.
Now we talked about Coach Barrett and what he said. One of the things he said, you know what, penalties are going to happen during a football game. The thing that he wants to cure from his football team is taking penalties at crucial times. And even though we're in the start of the fourth quarter, I think it's a crucial time. I mean, you don't take penalties like that, put yourself in a worse situation. Instead of 2nd and 10, you're 2nd and 15.
Crowd rising up again. Saskatchewan with 8 penalties so far to just 4 by the Bombers. Here's Green. It's complete to Rocky Henry. Then he drops it. They're going to wipe it out and say it's incomplete. Fans helping with that call.
Of course, the fans they're all referees, they're all wannabes, but you know what? It's a nice job of really making this call. Sits there, good protection, throws the ball. Rocky Henry has a catch. As he goes down, the ball comes out. Now the question being, that I'll throw to you, Mark, is a lot of times they say when the ground causes the fumble, it's not a fumble.
I thought he had that ball, Chris.
But
I mean, momentarily he had the catch.
From the inside, you have to ask from the side. We can't see, did he have total control of the football? And that's the big thing the referee's making a judgment on.
Look at that average for Paul McCallum. There's a beauty into the wind. Driving Coleman back across his 30. Coleman breaks the tackle across the 35, and the Kiesman is there to make the tackle. A 45-yard Paul McCallum boot, and he's happy about that one. And a 6-yard return as the Bomber faithful rise up.
Well, CBC has a great football lineup for you on Thanksgiving Monday. Our first game sees the Toronto Argonauts in Hamilton to play the Ticats. This game could very well decide who's in and who's out as far as the Eastern Division playoffs are concerned. Then it's out to Edmonton, where it's a meeting between the best teams in the league. And some people believe this could be a preview of what we're going to see 6 weeks from now at the Grey Cup game, Mark.
Yes, although past history has shown the division leaders have had trouble come playoff time. Witness Winnipeg last year's Grey Cup. Kahari Jones with his 16th completion of the game, and that sets a new personal record for completions in a season. 330 now, breaking the mark of 329 he set last year.
Well, we talked about him, another outstanding campaign, and it's going to be really interesting at the end of the year when the voters get together and figure out who is the most outstanding player. Will it be Stiegel, or will it be Kahari Jones?
Or will it be John Avery in the West? Jones back to pass. Ball's away, nearly intercepted as Jackie Mitchell one-hands it and knocks it down.
Jackie Mitchell with a nice burst to the football as Milt Stiegel thinks he's got the ball and he's going to make the catch. Closing speed, really, by number 24. Jackie Mitchell gets to the outside to the flat. Milt Stiegel thinks he's got that ball, and boy, I tell you what, Jackie Mitchell just a hair from taking that one.
Yes, it was daylight to the end zone for Jackie Mitchell, who's been everywhere this afternoon for Saskatchewan. Cameron angling this one to the near sideline, won't get there. Corey Holmes has it at the 28. Holmes going to the wide side, looks for a lane, breaks one tackle, and is brought down by Mike Sellers and Wade Miller at his own 35. There's some pushing and shoving. Katie Williams in the thick of it, and a flag flies.
Well, you talk about penalties at inopportune times. That is definitely one if it goes against Winnipeg, having pinned Saskatchewan down.
Major foul, unnecessary roughness. Winnipeg 44. First down.
Well, we talked about that earlier, Mark. You know, one of the big penalties that have been thrown against Winnipeg all season is unnecessary roughness. And again, that's the second one today.
And there will be a fine from this man, as Dave Ritchie has imposed fines for plays like that.
Well,
penalties like that.
We talked about this. This is selfish. It's a selfish penalty because you hurt your team and you give field position to the opposition.
And that was the knock against K.D. Williams when he was here back in the mid-90s, that he was an undisciplined player. Good field position as Cedric Shaw steps through the left side of the Winnipeg defense. Wayne Weathers makes the tackle, but not until an 8-yard gain for Shaw.
You know, and the big thing what penalties do to a team is not only does it give the opposition better field position, but it brings life to that team. It's like getting a free first down, better field position. They get all excited. They come out, and look what happens. First play, they give it to Cedric Shaw. He picks up 8.5, 9 yards, puts him in second and short, and they're on the Bomber side of the football field.
Yes. Second down and 2. Saskatchewan at the 52 of Winnipeg. Up the gut, it's Zarka, who had a nice block on that last run by Shaw, and Zarka plows ahead for the first down.
Well, Zarka was having a career year coming into the game with 389 yards rushing, beating his personal best of 243. I mean, you know, when you got a guy this big, almost like a Mike Sellers, you got to use him, and you know what? It really helps in a short yardage situation to have a big house like that.
So they move the yardsticks again. Saskatchewan at the 49. First down. It's Shaw over the right tackle, and he's hogtied by David Benefield by the ankles to limit the gain to 4 yards.
And that's a nice job because Chris Zarka is going to go to the outside. It's basically a slide run. They're going to slide to the left. Shaw cuts it back to the right, runs into Benefield. And Chris Zarka, his job, his responsibility is to go away from the flow and try and block out to create a seam.
Second down and about 6.5. Saskatchewan has only converted 6 of 16 second down situations. Green in the shotgun. Airs it out to Dylan Ching, looking for a block. Can't find one, then goes down. Brian Clark and Dave Donaldson in on the tackle for Winnipeg. And Saskatchewan will have to punt.
Good pressure, but the end of the play is a key. You don't lose contain, much like a punt return. Don't let the guy to get to your outside. Throws it out. Now, that's a nice job. See how he got forced back inside? Anytime you can force the guy catching the ball, this time Dylan Ching back inside, that allows the rest of your teammates to come and have a chance of stopping that play short. They do a wonderful job on that one.
Clark, the quick tackle there, and so McCallum punting into the wind at his own 49. Marcus Howell, along with Marvin Coleman, deep for Winnipeg. Flag on the play, a high punt, and Marvin Coleman misjudges it and drops it out of bounds. Coleman playing too shallow on that one. Nearly gave it away, but there is a flag, a 34-yard punt.
Mark, there's actually 2 flags. One initially, and then right after that, another flag came.
Looks like too many men on the play.
Holding, Winnipeg 69, penalty is declined. Too many men, Winnipeg, first down Saskatchewan.
Wow, another bad penalty, and that's got Dave Ritchie furious.
Well, John Oosterhouse, who comes in on the special teams with the holding penalty, but too many men. You know, this is something you work on the day before the game. You go over and over, so it's ingrained in your memory who you have. If somebody comes out, the replacement has to know you're in there. But you got too many guys on that. Again, a big-time penalty, and this is crucial. As you see Daryl Sampson talking right there, shaking his head, because what you've basically done is you've given Saskatchewan another kick at the cat. They get the ball back, 1st and 10. At the Bomber 37.
Ritchie again combusting on the sideline. Looked like Anthony Williams was the 13th man, but it's a first down for Saskatchewan, and it keeps the drive alive. Green passing, nearly intercepted. Milo Lewis closes closing quickly on the play, had his hands on it, and it's incomplete.
Well, we've seen Nealon Green make some good decisions. I don't think this is a good decision right here. He tried to force the ball in. See Coach Ritchie getting a little angry, telling his players to get on the sideline, just concentrate about what you have to do. Don't worry about anything else. Take care of your own. See 26, Milo Davis, nice job of breaking on that football. Almost coming up with a big interception that would have really turned the tide on Saskatchewan there.
Lewis, a rookie out of Alabama, making his first start last week, making his presence felt here in the fourth quarter. Second down and 10, shotgun. Green with time, throws to the sideline. Rocky Henry looking for the first down, won't get there. Lamar McGriggs lassos Henry from behind. But is it deep enough for a field goal attempt into the wind?
Does a nice job of just sitting back there, keeping everything in front of him. Rocky Henry just going to go about 4 or 5 yards. I think he needs to get up the field a little bit more. He got separation there. You can see he's working against Tyrone Bell. You don't want to take your short or sell your route short. I think that's what he did in that play. Instead of taking where he might have had an opportunity to get a first down, Mark, he basically sold it short, got the catch, but came up short, and now they have to try the field goal.
So McCallum will attempt this one from 39 yards out into the wind. He's been good on 2 of 3, missed the one from 22, and the wind pushed it right. A kicker's duel so far this afternoon. McCallum versus Westwood. It's down, kicked a line drive, wide left for a single. So 1 point moves the Saskatchewan lead to 11-9 as Dave Ritchie's Bombers dodge a bullet on that bad penalty.
Well, Hockey Night in Canada begins another season this evening. It all starts at 6:30 Eastern. Join host Ron McLean as game 1 of our doubleheader as the Senators in Toronto play the Leafs. Then 10 Eastern, BC will see the Canucks at home to San Jose, while viewers in the rest of the country can watch the Flyers in Calgary. Now let's go upstairs.
Right, Brenda. Mike Sellers rumbling up the middle with a host of Saskatchewan tacklers, still going and very close to the first down on the second effort.
Well, one thing about the CFL, we incorporate a little bit of rugby every once in a while. We have a good scrum right there, and Mike Sellers just kind of gets in the pile, and then it becomes a push. The defense is on one side, the offense on the other, and they push them to 9.5 yards. But let's take a look back here at the kick. He really tries to get everything into it, trying to play the wind, and I think the reaction tells it all.
Wade Miller into the backfield for Winnipeg. Charles Roberts out. Remember, he hurt his leg in the first half, and Wade Miller on the second and short has the first down.
Well, and also, I mean, very fortunate, Nate Davis with a full handful of face mask, and Wade Miller's there trying to rip the old face mask off. I mean, this is right there. I mean, we see it. Just going to come up the middle now as he gets him. Now watch the hand, and you're going to see it right there. And that's a face mask as he's trying to tear the head off. That's a big break.
Facelift. Jones on the ground. Mike Sellers negotiating. Back upfield, cutting back, and another first down, depending on the spot.
Last week, Mike Sellers was the killer against Saskatchewan, but he used a screen pass to beat him. This time it looks like he's going to beat him on the ground running the football. Nice job of cutting back. This is a nice job of getting back, breaking some tackles, lowering the shoulder, picking up a first down. And more importantly, Mark, bringing the ball out of your own end now.
Well, it's interesting that the running game has been thriving with the wind. Both teams have passed well into the wind here this afternoon as Sellers rambles for the 6th time for 33 yards, and Shawnee Peoples being helped off the field for Saskatchewan.
Well, Shawnee Peoples has suffered with a groin injury for the most part of the season right now, and we don't know if that's
his hand there, Chris.
They don't know if that's the injury at this particular time. But you know what I've also wondered, and you talked about some of the surprising things that have unfolded during this football game, is we haven't seen many people with the wind, the quarterbacks, really go deep with the football.
Winnipeg and Shawnee Peoples getting medical attention on the Saskatchewan bench, favoring his hand after an encounter with Wade Miller on the last play. Terrence Melton out of Rice, the rookie, is in at the left end position. 6:44 to go in the football game. A 2-point Saskatchewan lead. Bombers with the win. Staying on the ground, Mike Sellers again with a big straight arm off the right side, carrying 3 Saskatchewan defenders to another Winnipeg first down. An 18-yard pickup for the big man.
Well, it's the big surprising part that shows the athletic ability of the big man, Mike Sellers, is the change of direction. I mean, he's going to the left. The play is designed to go. Look at the stiff arm. That is a great job of getting a hand out there, knocking the defenders down. He's got 3 guys trying to hang on for dear life that hopefully he'll tire out and go down.
Again, the Bombers continue to eat up time on the clock by staying on the ground. The 7th carry of the game for Sellers, 51 yards. They go right back to him again. Right side. He's on a roll. And close to another first down as the safety, Jason Mallet, has to come up and fill.
Well, just a little counter-action play. They're going to bring the backside guard, Dan Getve, who gets a start to number 62, is going to pull around. Now, as he pulls around, you can see right there in the right hand of your screen, he gets outside. Now, he blocks. That's a nice job of good protection of knocking him inside. He breaks the tackle. Travis Smith does the rest himself, and it's not brought down until Jason Mallet, the safety, brings him down.
Gain is 9. It's 2nd and 1. Jones calling an audible at the line of scrimmage. He'll hand off Sellers left side. He'll have the first down and more. Last week it was Mike Sellers beating up Saskatchewan through the air on the screen pass, and now in the 4th quarter he's doing the damage on the ground.
Well, the old adage, man, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I mean, they're going right, they're picking up good yardage. You go to the left, they're picking up good yardage. But the offensive line has got to get some credit. Mo Elwanibi, the boys in there in the middle, are creating seams. And you'd think you'd have to have big seams with a big guy like that running through, but he's making people miss and he's breaking tackles.
First down, Winnipeg on the Saskatchewan 17-yard line. They'll stay with what's working. Sellers this time clotheslined at the line of scrimmage, but still rumbling with a pile of Saskatchewan Riders on his back and his helmet torn off.
Well, the flag came down. You see again, it was almost another scrum right there using rugby lingo. Just basically getting behind, pushing. The helmet comes off in the pile. But the determination of Mike Sellers, something to be awed at. The helmet comes down. You see a pop down on the ground there. And
it is a scrum. Look at that. The Bombers
going.
Winnipeg 64. The first down repeated.
So Mo Elwanibi called for pushing the pile. There were at least 5 Bombers in behind.
Well, I mean, this is
Sellers.
ridiculous. They had that happen a few plays prior to that. Both people were pushing. The Saskatchewan was pushing one way. The offensive line was going. It was a war. This is what it's about. It's a contact sport. Now you're going to tell me that I can't help my running back?
Apparently not.
Maybe he doesn't need any help when you're that big, but still, you gotta allow the O-line to get involved in that one.
So it's a 1st and 20 situation. The ball back on the 27 of Saskatchewan. Jones decides to pass. There's the blitz. Sellers on the outlet. There's nowhere to go. A short gain. It'll be 2nd and long.
Nice job of Omar Morgan falling off the coverage, coming up, making the tackle. Just going to slide out to the flat. This is just almost like a little screen. It slides through, gets the ball. Look at the closing speed. There's Davin Bush and Omar Morgan making the play right there.
High and low on the tackle there. It's the 9th play of this Winnipeg drive as they continue to hold the ball on offense for long periods of time. 5 receivers set as Jamie Stoddard comes into the game for Winnipeg. 2nd down, 16 to go. Jones down deep, looking for Stiegel, too high and incomplete. And so it'll be a field goal attempt for Troy Westwood as Davin Bush rises to the occasion against Stiegel.
Well, once again, they're trying to find Milt Stiegel down the seam. And again, the result is the pass just a little overthrown. Ball just gets away a little bit. Milt tries to go up, catch the ball, but again, you know, we talked about Davin Bush having problems last week, allowing Milt to catch 9 catches for 194 yards and 4 touchdowns. He's done a pretty good job today.
Westwood good on 3 of 3, his longest 34. This one from the 30 with the win. Kicked and good. Troy Westwood with his 4th consecutive field goal and no misses, and the Bombers have a 1-point lead. But Mike Sellers was the man carrying the load on that offensive drive.
Well, I think they're going to have to look at ways to stop him if they get the ball again.
Back to Winnipeg with 3:05 to go after this. Mike Sellers taking a breather after engineering that last scoring drive, ending in the 4th field goal of the game by Westwood. The drive, though, taking 5.5 minutes off the clock. 10 plays, 52 yards. Saskatchewan on offense into the wind. Green wide side complete to Jackson. And he steps out of bounds at the first down marker, and it looks like it will be a Rider first down. 2:54 to go in the football game, and a 1-point Winnipeg lead.
Well, the clock definitely started to become the enemy right now for Saskatchewan. Albeit they're only down by 1 point, 12 to 11. The last 4 possessions, they basically punted the first 3, and then they missed a field goal on their last drive to get the single point.
Quincy Jackson with his first catch of this football game. Green, 50% completions. Time going deep down the sideline. There's some pushing and shoving on Tyrone Bell and Rocky Henry. Now, Bell was called twice in the game against BC in a similar situation, but good coverage there, no flags.
Well, it's just basically the old adage, no flag, no foul. But, I mean, this is good coverage. 1-on-1. You're allowed to make the initial contact. Now he's playing him. Now, you can see the hand is inside on that jersey right there. Now, that's something that they're calling, and we saw players run out to the Saskatchewan bench trying to yell at the referee, get his attention about throwing the flag. May have had a case.
2nd and 10. Ball on the Saskatchewan 46. Green, pressure, ball tipped and incomplete. KD, redemption.
KD just comes around the side. Nobody blocks him. It's a free shot at the quarterback. And he makes Nealon Green pay as he tries to throw the football.
Well, he no longer has the gold teeth, but he still has the gold helmet.
Just from the left-hand side, he's just going to beat the guy right there. Donald Heaven comes around. Heaven out of the way. Comes right in there, disrupts the throwing motion.
Okay.
Paul McCallum to punt. High snap, he brings it down. Drills this one into the wind, held up. Coleman running into it. No yards will be the call. And so the Bombers will have tremendous field position when they come back on offense with 2:36 to go in the 4th quarter. Best field position to start a drive all football game for the Blue Bombers as this sellout crowd anticipates a Bomber win in the rubber match of this 3-game series with Saskatchewan. Both teams with a win each. On the 25-yard punt, there was no return, but with the no yards call, Dave Ritchie's offense will start at center field.
And remember, they've been doing a great job of eating the clock up on their drives.
They have the last one, as I mentioned, 5:31 off the clock. 4 drives over 4.5 minutes. Movement along the line of scrimmage. Play is blown down as flags fly. And this may be procedure.
Now they're talking to Saskatchewan, so that's usually the first indication it's not.
Illegal procedure. Winnipeg 64. First down repeated.
Not a penalty against them, so it's Mo Elwanibi with the procedure, the right guard. Had to move to that right guard position because they brought in Garrick Jones, who can't play the guard position. So it just shows again the versatility of the big old lineman.
Elwanibi with rookies on both sides. BC the center and Jones the left tackle. 1st and 15. Jones wants to go deep downfield. Stiegel is open behind Davin Bush. It's a foot race to the end zone. Touchdown, Blue Bombers. Milt Stiegel waits until the final 2.5 minutes and finally delivers on a 60-yard pass and run touchdown.
talk about the recognition factor, the experience of a great quarterback, and I'm going to use that term with Kahari Jones. He recognizes the one-on-one coverage. They've been trying to mix it up on Steele, take him out of the football game. Kahari sees this one-on-one coverage down in Bush. Steele just takes him up the field, breaks it to the outside, and he is wide open. He gets separation from the defender. Kahari sees it, gets great protection from the O-line, and you know what? Steele does the rest for his 9th team touchdown. Set a new club record now. Amazing, amazing, amazing connection, these two. The Kahari Jones, Milt Steele. We talked about this. We talked a lot about the Danny McManus, the Darren Flutie combination. Folks, we got one here with Kahari Jones and Milt Steele.
Yes, Chris, the connection for Steagle's 19th touchdown of the year breaks Gerald Alphin's record set in 1994, and now Steagle is 2 away from tying Alan Pitt's league record.
Well, I mean, protection, great protection. Sitting down there, keeping the fullback, Mike Sellers in there, but look, the separation, 3-yard separation from Davin Bush. You cannot allow a receiver with the capabilities and speed of Milt Steele to go untouched. One of the things that Danny Barrett said is our secondary has to get jams on this guy. You've got to get in his face. You've got to disrupt his route. They don't do that, and look what happens. They pay the price right now at a crucial time in the football game. You know, you talk about Steele. I just see the reaction of head coach Dave Ritchie, but you know what? Let's talk about this guy here as well, the quarterback. Kahari Jones is so excited. He just threw his 40th touchdown pass, Mark, and I know the man that you are, you got a stat for that.
8 away from Doug Flutie's league record, but how about Milt Steele in 3 games against Saskatchewan this year, 6 touchdowns, 356 yards in receptions. As we look at the board that puts Kahari Jones second only to Doug Flutie and 8 away from Flutie's record. Steele now 3rd all-time and 2 away from Alan Pitt's single-season receiving touchdown record of 21. Alan Pitt's records could fall if Darren Flutie is healthy to return this season. He's still 5 away from the reception record as Steele savors the TD. Thiessen at his own 20, number 20, up the left side, and finally dropped hard as he crosses the 37-yard line.
Well, we have an 8-point game now, so you know with the time remaining that you're basically looking at a 2-point conversion to tie the game. This is where it gets interesting. Nealon Green having some success throwing the football against the wind, but really the last 4 or 5 possessions have really stalled and had to force themselves to punt the football away. I don't know. We may be in 3-down football pretty soon here.
2:22 to go. Saskatchewan trailing by 8 going into this Winnipeg North wind. They have no timeouts. Remember, they used it up in the 3rd quarter to prevent a time count violation. Green throwing deep. Derek Armstrong bumping and incomplete. Marvin Coleman right there, step for step from the coverage.
Now remember this, last week Marvin Coleman was the man victimized for that last 15-second touchdown by Derek Armstrong. He said, you know what, I'm going to play a lot tougher on that Derek Armstrong. I respect him, he's a great receiver, but he does a nice job. It's just simple one-on-one coverage. Watch him, plays the football. You see Derek Armstrong tries to fall into Marvin Coleman. Why he does that? He tries to draw the flag.
Armstrong injured on the play. Corey Grant in at wide receiver for Derek Armstrong. 2nd and 10. Desperation now. Green deep. French has it, then drops it. It's ruled incomplete. Jason French had the catch, was hit hard, and dropped it. And so Saskatchewan will have to punt with 2:10 to play.
Well, Jason French may want to bring a vacuum cleaner out to the football field after the game and pick up some ribs that are scattered around the field, because that is a great timing pattern. We talked about Tom Europe in the first half coming up. That is what your midfielder, your safety, is supposed to do. That's a great job of coming up and dislodging the football from the receiver. And I talked about it before. You put the fear factor in there, and the receivers don't want to come in your territory. Nice job, Tom Europe.
Tommy Europe blowing up Quincy Jackson like that in the first half. Line drive on the run taken by Coleman. And again, good field position as Terrence Melton makes the tackle at the Winnipeg 50-yard line. In the second half, Nealon Green has been good on only 5 of 15 passes for 31 yards. The passing game has abandoned Saskatchewan as Kahari Jones goes into the huddle with 2:03 to go.
Well, you've talked about the secondary, the pass defense of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Hey, how about some kudos for the boys in blue, because they've done a wonderful job of shutting down some good receivers on the Saskatchewan side.
Jones, 1st and 10 on the ground. Mike Sellers rumbling up the gut, and he'll be close to a first down.
You know what I loved about that play? Right at the end of the play, Mike Sellers is going down. The safety, Jason Mallett, sees it and just backs out of the way. You're going down, big fella. No sense laying a lumber on you, but Jason Mallett says, no, you're going down. I'm going to get away from you. No sense taking a shot from you.
Nobody wanted a piece of the big man there. Sellers, 10 carries and 79 yards. Most of that damage in the second half of this football game. Here's the measurement now. Be about a foot short of the first down.
You know what? That's absolutely what you want. You'd rather not have a first down, because right now you know you're going to get a first down on an extra play because you're that short. Give you a whole new set of downs and you eat the clock some more.
And a reminder that there are still tickets available for this year's Grey Cup in Edmonton. Latest word is they have just moved past the 50,000 mark, but still plenty of good seats available. How about the story in Montreal where they're just a few thousand shy of a sellout at the Big O for the Eastern Final? On the ground, Wade Miller has the first down for Winnipeg. 1:35 to go, and this is bad timing for Saskatchewan. They need to get the ball back.
Well,
but again, Winnipeg grinding the clock.
Well, they're grinding the clock. And what happens now? What the defensive coordinator will be telling the Rough Rider defense is, you have to go after the football. So you may see a back break a play right now, because they're not going to be so worried about tackling the man as opposed to tackling the football and creating a turnover. They need a turnover, so they got to go after the pigskin.
Danny Barrett anxious on the Saskatchewan sideline. 1:23 and counting now. First down, Winnipeg. They'll stay on the ground. They've got to stop Sellers to get the ball back. This time they plug that hole, but Sellers will have a gain of about 4 on the play. Maybe 5.
Well, Mike Sellers, who carried the ball only 4 times last week. We talked about the fact that he beat him with the pass. I mean, he's multi-dimensional, and here he is again carrying the ball. I mean, he's picking up positive yards. This is a horse. I mean, when you got a guy 6'3", 260 with his speed, his power, and we watched him over here where they tore his helmet off, and he still kept going to the goal line.
Well, I'll tell you what, Dave Ritchie's got to be awfully happy seeing the kind of ground game they've got late in the season. When it gets cold, they can rely on Mike Sellers. Stopped there short of the first down, but with the wind, is this a field goal attempt by Westwood or a punt by Cameron? Discussion on the Winnipeg bench, and
you know, you got to look at the options. You punt, and if you get Bob Cameron to angle it, you don't want to kick it through the end zone. That's the thing. You want to put him inside the 10-yard line.
Send Cameron out.
So if you miss the field goal, then they take over where the ball was spotted. So I think, you know, he wants to get Bob out there. Let's use the 22-year veteran. The experience he has, I mean, he's kicked his whole life in this stadium. He knows the winds, and hopefully he can put it out of bounds.
48-year-old Bobby Cameron, landlord and owner of 18 houses in Winnipeg, often said he goes home from practice cleaner than he arrives after doing a lot of his own repairs.
Well, I'll tell you. Bobby Cameron's just going to let the clock run out there.
Timeout, Winnipeg.
Bombers call the timeout with 32 seconds left on the clock.
I always laugh at Bobby, and I love punters, and I love Bob. I played with him a lot of years, my whole career with him. But the biggest thing about Bobby, we used to bug him all the time. I mean, he's played 390 games. Now, for all you math people out there, he averages about 10 plays a game. Now, if you break that down over 18 games, I worked it out. He's actually only played 69 football games if he was an offensive lineman. I mean, come on, people.
Again, high praise from the big man for a kicker. Cameron angling this one. Oh, it's a beauty. Oh, it goes into the end zone and out of touch. One point will do it, because now it's a 9-point lead. And Saskatchewan can't tie it. with a touchdown and a 2-point convert.
Well, it's only 23 seconds left. This is the time when you actually go out there and say, well, you know that the CFL game, a lot of things can happen in the last 2 minutes, but 23 seconds as you look at the old-timer. Take a look at the reaction.
Ho-hum, another point.
You see he's got the sweat jacket on there because he's on the sideline so much.
So a big point, a crucial punt single on the 53-yard, hoofed by Bob Cameron. And it's academic now with 23 seconds to go. Green throwing to the sideline, nobody there as Derek Armstrong cut in. And Green threw out.
Well, still good pressure. Denny Fortney, the Warrior. I really like this kid coming through, still working hard, even with 20 seconds left in the game. Trying to put the pressure on Kahari, or on Nealon Green. I mean, you just got to love it.
So the series will go to Winnipeg, 2-1. That could be a factor in a tiebreaker. Bombers move into a second-place tie with BC with 18 points. After the win here this afternoon. Green to the near sideline, and it's dropped. Rocky Henry has it go right through his hands at the first down marker.
We'll use that.
Well, the concentration level's gone. Rocky Henry just running the clock out right here. He should make this catch. It's right there. The ball's thrown where it has to be. But he just doesn't concentrate, lets it go.
Yeah, that's not Nealon Green's fault, although he's been 0 for 6 his last attempt. The Winnipeg quarterback has the only touchdown pass and touchdown drive of the football game, hitting his favorite receiver, the league leader, Milt Stegall, on a 60-yarder to clinch this victory. Outlet pass to Cedric Shaw. That's not a threat as he gets close to the first down marker with 6 seconds to go in regulation time.
Well, with 6 seconds, they're not going to get the first down. The ball will change hands. Basically, the Bomber offense can go out there and do one kneel down and walk off the field victors. A tough-fought game, Mark. Defense has dominated early, and as you say, the one touchdown strike from Kahari to the red-hot Milt Stegall.
The Bombers will run their home record to 7-1. The Roughriders 1-6 on the road and winless in Winnipeg in 8 years. As George White contemplates the defeat here this afternoon, his team unable to score a touchdown. Bombers running the clock down to 2-1, and there's the whistle. Milt Stegall with his 6th touchdown of the season against the Saskatchewan Roughriders. The backbreaker as Dave Ritchie and the Blue Bombers defeat the Saskatchewan Roughriders 20-11 and win the season series 2-1. Two old University of Cincinnati grads, good buddies, although Danny Barrett says they haven't talked on the phone much this year since Winnipeg came back to the West, and they know there's a good chance they could meet again.
It's a game right down to the wire, and you gotta love it. This is what football's all about, the cold weather. As you said, I thought it was kind of ironic that Winnipeg, the team that throws the ball a lot, actually used the run so effectively to beat the #1 rushing team, Saskatchewan.
Well, that's the story. The Bombers grinding out the clock and taking the heart out of Saskatchewan as we go down to Brenda.
Well, right now I'm with two of the offensive stars of this game. Let's start with Milt Stegall. 19 touchdowns this season, breaking a club record. 6 touchdowns against the Riders this season. Why do you think you played this team so well?
Well, I just had a decent game today. It wasn't as well as it was last week, but, you know, they did some good things today, and our defense held us up today, and we scored it when we needed to. You know, it wasn't a great offensive performance, but we made plays when we had to, and we came out on top.
You look good today.
Yeah, I did okay. Bush, he played me a lot tougher than he did last week. You know, I just happened to had an opportunity to make a big play towards the end, and I made it. Otherwise, I didn't do anything today. But we're just fortunate to come away with this win. You know, they're a great team, and you never know. We'll see them again somewhere down the road.
Congratulations.
Thanks a lot.
Well, the rubber match of this season series goes to the Bombers. 20-11 is the final from Canad Inns Stadium in Winnipeg. Welcome back to Canad Inns Stadium, where the Winnipeg Blue Bombers have just defeated the Saskatchewan Roughriders 20-11. And Chris Walby will be the first to tell you just how important the O-line is to any team's success. So, Chris, you have a very special presentation.
Well, I tell you what, I love the big hoggies down there, and I know I'm talking to Dave Mudge, the big leader, and you got Elwyn Eby. Look at these guys, and I tell you what, we wanted to bring something special to these guys that we could show on air, and right there, they've all got a little pre-Thanksgiving treat. A nice pumpkin pie for the boys for a job well done. Dave, I got to tell you, great day today. You guys opened up some huge holes. Gave Kahari some time to throw the football. And nice job opening holes for big Mike Sellers, a new running back.
Yeah, absolutely. It was great to see Mike doing it. He's a hard-nosed runner who's always just interested in... hang on a second. I'm just trying not to get a pie in the face. I know these guys are up to Hey, we're pretty good jokers here, but we know what's coming. Yeah, he did a great job running today, though, and really stuck it in there and got the drives when we needed to.
Well, I got to tell you, one of the things, too...
here we go!
Happy Thanksgiving!
I was just going to say that maybe they could take those pies to Coach Ritchie's Thanksgiving Day party on Monday when he will have no fewer than 80 Bombers, their wives and kids. But I guess that's all for not now, as the big man, Mike Sellers, rules the day on the ground.